Hello, with this tutorial about finishing works. We will present a tutorial, or we will present many tutorials about finishing, but today we'll represent uh, one slide about finishing works. As we see in this slide, finishing works, we talk about finishing works in this introduction. Finishing works is a fine job in building construction processes. Why? Where it forms the beauty of a building, several types of finishes can be used based on the material. We here discuss about several types of finishes can be used based on the materials used, as we will see here in this slide, and is according about environmental condition and costs, because every finishing it depends basically on the cost and environmental conditions. A finishing of building can be divided into several sections. When we talk about finishing, we talk about three types or three sections and finishing. The first sections is floor finishing, and the second is wall finishing, and final is the ceiling finishing. What is about plastering? Plastering here is considered as the first sections of the finishing. When we talk about the wall finishing, we talk about two types, plastering and painting. The first is plastering. Plastering is one of the finishing of the walls. It functions as a following, as we well implies in this slide. One, protect covered basic works. We talk about the functions of plastering. A protect covered basic work, produce a flat surface and neatly. A protect the basic work of the climate action. Occasion. It's important sentences here. We talk about the plastering as occasion, the finishing paint work and laying of tiles. Provide facilities for cleaning. When we apply a plastering, it's helpful to clean the wall easily. Increase durability to the work of the foundation. What about durability? Durability prevent the water to pass through the wall. It's important think in this function, or as a function of plastering. Provide a comfort and safety to the residents who live in it. It's clear in this sentence. We talk about comfort and safety. As a human, you live in a home or house. We here in this slide will talk about plastering as materials. We know plastering from several materials as applied here in this slide: cement and lime and sand and water. Okay, our procedures about external plastering about internal plastering in this slide. We will talk about the internal plastering and external plastering as procedures. We see here this internal plastering. Internal plastering, first we talk about layers of internal plastering. Uh, Internal plastering are formed from three layers. The first layers of base coat is called base coat. A plastering in the finished brick wall style. This layer is important. Why is it important? It is important because it will absorb water from the layers. Okay, this layer is important. Why? Because it will absorb water from the layers of finish coat, or come from the finish coat that will plastering, or the finish coat that will plastering, then that the wall does not look wet. This layer is also aimed at leveling the brick wall palm that are less flat. For the first layer is called finish coat. Finish coat will plastering later on at a thickness of half inch to 1 inch, depending on the uniformity of the wall, using a finishing trowel. Finally, the layers of plaster will plastering with a layer of oil slurry cement. This mixture consists of masonry cement and water. This layer that will highlight the aesthetic features of building constructed. After the layers of cement slurry plastering, it will be painted with water using a brush to paint fine lines from that wall to retain moisture in the plastering. This is necessary so that the paint will stick to the wall painted. What about external plastering procedures? And the external plastering, as we see here in this slide. For the exterior wall plastering, mainly involves two layers of the base coat and finish coat. Two layers of the base coat and finish coat is different about the internal plastering in these layers. In the finishing process, or as procedures, there are just two layers of plastering for the external plastering. The first layer is base coat and the finish coat, made for plastering the wall. Outside the home is more grass and beard. After the layers of finish coat, the external wall is painted with water using a sponge. It aims to reveal more gross wall surface. We talk here about plastering or external plastering and internal plastering as procedures. In this slide, we talk about example of plastering. There, as mentioned before, there are two types of plastering: internal wall and external wall, and then will be internal plastering and external plastering, and the different plastering, or we divided the plastering according to the wall, internal and external. And as shown in this slide, the internal plastering consists of three layers, and the external wall or external plastering consists of just two layers. Rendering in this picture, as shown in this slide, are two pictures about rendering works. Okay, what about the floor tiles? Floor tiles, floor tiles or floor finishing, as we mentioned before in this slide or in the introduction of this slide about finishing, there are three types, or there are three sections of finishing: wall finishing, and floor finishing, and ceiling finishing. In this slide, or here in this slide, we'll talk about the floor tiles or the floor finishing. As we see in this slides, as shown, there are two pictures about tiles used in tiling process, according to quality, according to as we see here in this, there are two: thermoplastic tiles and vinyl asbestos. As we mentioned before in the introduction of this slide, it is according to environmental condition and cost. We always choose the better for our environmental, or for our environment. Here in this slide, we see two types of another tiles: cork tiles and clay tiles. And for the next page in this slide, quarry tiles and terrazzo tiles. Thank you for watching, and we will meet in another tour about finishing. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.